Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto, Rory Parsons. Let's have some fun today. We are just 11 days away from actual Raider football. Raiders, Chargers, SoFi, September 11th, afternoon game. Can't wait. Just 11 days.
Can't wait.
Closer and closer. I can smell the fresh cut grass from here in Long Beach. So we got a 53-man roster, boys. And I say that it's more like a roster-like substance because there's no way this is the 53 guys that are suiting up on that first Sunday game. We're low on offensive linemen, tons of running backs. There's like 11 defensive linemen. So you know they're going to be making some moves, but just your initial reaction today. It was a fun, like the Raiders, I don't know if it's their intention just to make it like high drama, but they're like the last to release their 53. It came in like little pieces. Drama-filled day. The NFL knows how to just elongate drama, right?
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction today, Soto? Like, what was your biggest, or I guess like, holy shit moment, or I don't believe this, or I love this? What?
The fact that it just that Mick Ziegler's not fucking around. They don't give a shit about dead cap. They give a shit about putting a good product on the field. And they don't give a shit about dead cap money. They don't give a shit about where you were drafted. Like we've been saying since the very beginning, these guys are not married to any one of these players. The best guy is going to win. It's a competition. I don't care if you're an undrafted free agent. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you did last year on paper. I want to see what you do now, how you play now. Trayvon Mullen, you seem to be a good player. You were a starting player for us, but guess what? We didn't see enough of you. You were hurt. You chose to have surgery too late. And guess what? Other players are just fine. We were just fine without you. So happy trails. You know, I talked about Leatherwood from the fucking day he was here. I didn't want him here. I never wanted him on this fucking team. And he played worse than an undrafted free agent tackle that's probably going to end up on our practice squad. Mm-hmm. There were 3 plays. I watched the tape. There were 3 plays. And Leatherwood played almost the entire game where he was not either beat cleanly or thrown on the ground. 3. That's it. The entire game. You will not be on a roster. So look, measurables.
This is why Soto, you said you'd play better than Alex Leatherwood.
What the fuck?
You would have at least 4 plays where you weren't beat.
Dude, at least measurables only count when you're a college player. Once you're in the pros and have been in the pros, it's about your tape. What have you done against other pros? And I don't care what your measurables are. If you look that shitty against other NFL players, you're not going to play anywhere. Nobody wanted our trash. Talking about trade this guy, we trade that. Nobody wanted our trash. Maybe they'll pick him up and we'll get a little bit of relief from the cap, whatever. But that was a big oh shit moment for me, and that should have been an oh shit moment for the entire roster. We got to show up ready. We can't bullshit this whole fucking let me get surgery way too late in the offseason because I want to have my fun offseason and shit like that. Like, you can't be doing that shit around these guys. We're gonna find guys to come and play, and they're gonna be ready, and they're not gonna make mistakes, and they're gonna be productive. And the last one is Isaiah Palo-Mao. I was really hopeful for him to make the team because I thought he was, SC guy, good measurables, big kid. We'll see how he goes.
It's just because he was an SC guy, man.
Yeah, you just said measurables only count in college. Yeah. And you're like, I like this.
He doesn't have pro tape.
He's a good
college
kid.
Tape.
He's a good kid. Yeah, you're the one who's like, oh, Zay Jones, he helps old ladies cross the street. We don't want to keep him. I want players.
Yeah, he had a player, dude.
I like every excuse.
He ain't a player. That's the only thing I saw from him in preseason was missed tackles. I'm shocked he made the roster.
Yeah, because nobody throws to him. Because he's always doing his fucking job.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you guys pretty much nailed it. There's not much more to say. Mick Ziegler really put their stamp on the team. As you said, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are, where you were drafted, where you came from. If you're not going to make this team better, if you're not going to add value, you're gone. And frankly, the dead cap is pretty insane when you look at it this year and next year. Like, they've cleaned house.
Yeah. I'm going to I have some things on Leatherwood. We'll get to that towards the end. And I have a couple things on Ziegler. I'm not 100% convinced that he's just like only guys who do the best with no stipulations. I'm not 100% convinced, so I'll run some theories by you guys in a little bit. But let's get through this roster, all right? Here's the defense. We'll start with the defense, get to the offense, and we'll end with the O-line for very obvious reasons. Defensive line, they kept 11 ends and tackles for Patrick Graham and his defense. Maxx Crosby, Bilal, Nichols, Jonathan Hankins, Chandler Jones, Malcolm Kuntz, Deshaun Bauer, Andrew Billings, Kendall Vickers, Clay Farrell, Neil Farrell, a couple Farrells, and Matthew Butler. They cut Myron Tagovailoa Amosa, Zach Van Valkenburg, and Kyle Pico. Any surprises?
None. I'm surprised they kept that many. But I mean, other than that, everybody on this list produced.
I think when they start, like we said, this 53-man roster, there's no way these are the 53 guys that are going to suit up 11 days from now. They're going to, for sure, add some tackles. We'll get to that later, add some other positions. I think D-line and running back is where they're going to start pushing guys to the practice squad to bring in new dudes. Because you're right. Like,
you got 6 and 11, right?
6 running backs and 11 defensive linemen. Like, okay.
Eight offensive linemen, too. So that's
eight offensive linemen, right? So you're going to have to move that. I think defensive line, I think probably like Butler or Farrell Jr. are going to find themselves in the practice squad at some point. But it also maybe tells me that they like these guys so much they don't want them to run through waivers right now. Mm-hmm. They want them to try to keep them for the practice squad, but they're probably not going to make the true 53, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, man. I like every single one of these guys put good tape. You know, some of the younger guys had some up and down tape, but, you know, that's why they're back end guys. Mm-hmm. That's why they're going to play against better players, not going to be asked to do too much and just do what they're comfortable with and do what they're good at. But, yeah, I mean, we have a solid squad here.
For sure.
I like the depth. I like the depth. Like, we have arguably maybe the best defensive ends in football, arguably, potentially. But I was worried about depth.
Not anymore.
Bauer and Kuntz. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome backup ends.
I'm happy about that. Honestly, Cleveland Farrell, I'm surprised he made the roster given what's happened with McZig. Because he hasn't shown anything all preseason, right? His tape's not very good. Maybe they're like, all right, we can't keep cutting these guys. There's already enough dead cap.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's shown something in practice, or maybe he's
$7.8 million in dead cap.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's willing to do special teams. Maybe
he does play special teams.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like maybe he's done more than the other guys that they've cut in those positions.
The tape don't lie guys made a pretty good point. They're like, never underestimate football guys that love football guys. Like, say what you want about Clay Farrell. He's a football dude, loves football, lives and breathes football, good teammate, pays attention, learns this, smart. Like, he's just like pure, like oozes football, and that's contagious for other football dudes. They're like, yeah, maybe this guy. Like, I've been kept on jobs where I didn't need to be there, but my bosses liked me. They're like, you know what? You're good for the team. We kind of have your role already filled, but you're awesome. So you can kind of hang out for a little bit. That's how I kept a job at Fox for an extra year longer than I had. Like, they had another writer come in to do the boxing. Like, RJ's fun to keep around. He's a TV guy. Let's keep him around. I was the Clay Farrell of Fox Sports.
So his name is Cleland Farrell, not Clayland Farrell. Number one. Number two, he was another up and down guy. But again, put him in the right package, have him do what he's good at. I think he can be a decent pass rusher on the inside at a kind of a speed package, and he plays special teams.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised at the DBs. We spoke about Roderic Teamer. We didn't think he was going to get cut. We knew Duron Harmon was going to stick around.
We haven't even done linebackers.
We get the linebackers, bro.
Come on. I'm trying to put little.
We can go level by level.
Level by level, baby.
Chapters on the YouTube. Linebacker keeping 5, which we thought 4 is probably enough. They're keeping 5. Denzel Perryman, Divine Deablo, Jayon Brown, Darien Butler, Luke Masterson, Curtis Bolton, cut. Butler, Masterson, their camp was so good. There's
no way you could cut them. No way.
They earned their stuff. Probably not get a lot of playing time, but it's like,
you never know, man. You never know
on your team.
Both undrafted, right?
Yeah.
Masterson definitely was. Was Butler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, dude, we've kept some undrafted guys this year, right?
4.
Four, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's, again, Maxx Ziegler, right? That is the staple of this team moving forward. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. If you add value, if you play yourself into a role, you're going to get a roster spot. 4 UDFAs, that's a big deal.
Jay Jackson was a fucking undrafted free agent. He's a fucking bazillionaire now.
Yeah.
You know, that's what, especially in the secondary, that's what Bill Belichick used to do a lot, is get these guys, coach them up, find something good about them. And, man, these kids, if they shine the way they did on special teams, the way they did in these preseason games, we're going to have some pretty damn good special teams.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Kwiatkowski got cut from the Falcons today.
Saw that. He got cut yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts. The fucking Falcons, bro.
Crazy.
We gave him a shit ton
bunch of
money,
Raiders
too.
got cut. A bunch of ex-Raiders got cut today. Tanner Muse got cut.
Mhm.
Third rounder.
David Sharp from the Ravens.
Yep. Who's that Joker back that Gruden was all hot and bothered about that we traded the Dolphins?
Bowden.
Lynn Bowden?
Lynn Bowden. He got cut today.
Wow. Good Lord.
These motherfuckers are on like their second and third teams already, and they're still getting
Like,
cut.
to real point, Rory, we have to do a fucking an episode or just a fucking clip or whatever, a deep dive into all the Gruden / Mayock picks. Where are they now?
Where are they now?
Maybe they're playing somewhere else. Maybe they're playing in the USFL.
Maybe
Who
they're
the
at a
fuck
car
knows?
wash, hustling for tips. Maybe they're
This
getting
could-
hand jobs under bridges.
This could literally be an ESPN 30 for 30. Like Mike Mayock, the guy that made it to the NFL GM position, the draft analyst, the draft guru, he finally gets the keys to the car on a fucking NFL franchise that's rocketing towards a $4
Did
billion
he get
valuation.
the keys though? Did Gruden actually give him the keys?
You know what?
No.
He was
That's
part
what
of the
30 for
team.
30 should be on.
He was part of the
That's how they
team,
have it.
and the team opened their asshole and diarrhea all over their bed. Every single draft.
Succinct. You are a poet.
Yep.
Soto.
The
That was
drizzling,
right.
those drafts were the drizzling shits.
We can get to quarterback now, Rory, since you were all excited about it. Rock
Quarterback.
Ya-Sin, Nate Hobbs, Anthony Averett, Amik Robertson, Sam Webb, cut, Darius Phillips, Ike Brown, Bryce Cosby. Sam Webb. Somehow
Sam Webb, man.
Balled out,
Telling you.
man.
Yeah.
He
I'm
balled
genuinely
out.
surprised at Amik. Like, we were on the fence about Amik, but I guess, again, like, his preseason tape was so up and down, it was crazy, but I guess, like, a lot of the buzz coming out of training camp was that he was having a good camp, and that the new DB coaches loved him and everything else. It also means that Nate Hobbs is probably going to play more outside, right?
Yeah.
Which we were kind of expecting, which I'm kind of on the fence about that, to be honest, because I really liked his work in the nickel. I think he offers a lot in terms of run support and blitzing from the nickel, but yeah, man, he's a
Covering tight
damn good
ends.
nickel.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, Patrick Graham knows the secondary. I trust him if he thinks he can play outside. I'm sure he can. And shit, I'm surprised again that we're carrying 5 safeties. I didn't think Palo-Mao was going to make it. Teamer and Harmon makes a ton of sense. It's an interesting. Honestly, there was a lot of surprises today, but I think Trayvon Mullen is the biggest surprise by far. Like, you were fully expecting to see his name on this list going into today.
Starter. Not even making the 53.
Started, he got shipped out for a 7. Could be. It's probably going to be a 6. He's going to play. Their fucking the Cardinals secondary is fucking a nightmare right now. So
I think it was a combination of being injured during camp, and also he's not like a press man corner, which what Patrick Graham wants. I think it was also
all these guys are man guys.
Yeah, so it's like I think it was a combination of being hurt and doesn't really fit. I think if one of those, I think if he played all camp, we would have kept him. There would have been a role for him, especially in one of our shallower positions. A guy with that much experience, right? In a decent sized corner. It's like, okay, let's see if we can put a square peg in a round hole, because the other option is having nothing in any holes.
Sam Webb balling out pushed Mullins out, because Sam
Yeah.
Webb is a similar size, similar play style, a little bit better in man from what he's shown, and not afraid to tackle. Mullins can be a little iffy tackling. He can be a little iffy. He's a little spotty. He's not a Meek Robertson, but he's
physical, dude. Like, and he was a pretty good press man corner. Like, that was kind of like his long arms pressing at the line of scrimmage, sticking in man. He was too grabby at times, but that's where he kind of flashed. And he would have been, I don't know how tall Nate Hobbs is, but I mean, in the AFC West, when you got Mike Williams and those types, he did offer something a little different to the rest of our cornerbacks in terms of his height and length.
We have our Mike Williams stopper and a Meek Robertson, bro. He's been shown to do that
dude.
shit.
Yikes, dude. So
Well,
crazy.
look,
I mean,
as far as Amik goes, real quick, Amik was playing the outside starter position when he was in preseason. He's not going to play that in this role now. He's going to be, the slot guy or a dime guy or whatever. He's not going to be on the outside. It's going to be different.
they said, so this is another one of those training camp tidbits, is he actually, I forget which coach said it, but they said that he has been lining up outside and he is experienced outside and he knows how to play the position, but he doesn't have the height, he doesn't have the length, and that makes him a liability at a outside cornerback position. It flat out does.
Sam Webb even sounds like a dude who you're shocked that made the roster.
I
Just
hope
the
he
name
keeps that
Sam
48,
Webb.
bro. I hope he keeps that number 48. That'd be so sweet.
It's like, yeah, you sound like you're from Missouri Western State, Division II, barely making rosters. Just
Dude,
the
it
name
was
of it.
hilarious. So Keyshawn Johnson was saying how, oh man, he's like, when I'm in training camp and I saw some like 48, 49 come and cover me, I'm like, man, get this guy out here. Who is this guy? And then freaking Sam Webb comes out with a number 48. Terrible.
I'll say this about Trayvon Mullen, what you're saying, RJ. So it was the toe injury. It was week 4 last year. He missed 8 games. He re-aggravated the same toe injury in week 14, missed the rest of the season. And then he had another surgery on the same toe in June or July. So he pretty much missed all of training camp, moved down the depth chart, probably still isn't fully healthy and is, going through the rehab process. We don't know how healthy he is, going to the Cardinals. And ultimately, when you move down the depth chart that far, is he going to play special teams? No, he probably wouldn't have played special teams. And ultimately, they went with Amik and Sam Webb.
Safety. Trevon Moehrig, Johnathan Abram, Duron Harmon, Roderic Teamer, Isaiah Palo-Mao. Kept basically all of them. Every single safety. Got 5 safeties. I don't know what that says about what our DBs are going to look like. If nickel and dime, is it going to be a third or fourth corner? Is it going to be a third or fourth safety? But they kept all 5.
You're looking at when we look at the end of the roster here, the end guys, you're looking at special teams and you're looking at flexibility. We said Amik inside outside, Sam Webb inside outside, Isaiah Palo-Mao with his size, he can play in the box a little bit. All special teams guys. So, I mean, I understand what the thinking was putting them in and keeping them on the team. It is a little bit shocking, but I mean, it's not like, oh wow, he played absolutely awful all year. I don't know how.
Now here's the test. When you're like, oh, Ziegler doesn't care about anything except players. Did Ziegler keep him because he's Troy Polamalu's nephew and the nephew of our running backs coach? That played nothing into it, not a single part.
I don't think so.
Okay. They were saying that he did well, all throughout camp and everything, and core special teams guy looks like
he's pretty small.
He's not that thing. He's 6'4", he's about 215-ish, 220. Let's check.
He was listed as 205. I looked into it after you.
He's not that small, dude.
That's
he's
what
not
listed at 205.
He is
listed
not
at 205, dude.
Listed at 205.
Yeah. I mean, so it'd be interesting to go back and watch the up punts. Is he a gunner? Is he protecting the punter? Like, he's got a very specific role on special teams that they've kept him for. That's why he's still around.
On the Raiders website, he's just at 211.
So he's probably 193.
Or they can go the other way, like RJ does on his ID. He's still 155 on his ID.
I'm 160 on my ID. That's what I wore. I did. In fairness to me, I did fight at 155.
You never walked around at 160. You never walked around a day in your life at 160 when you were an adult.
Yeah, what did I just say? I made weight for my last fight at 155, and I fought.
You were at that weight for like an hour and a half, RJ.
I was at that weight for like 8 hours, which is why I fought so shitty. I made weight the night before and kept it off. I was like, damn it, I screwed this up.
Dude, this
sucks so bad.
That fight was not in your favor because the guy walked in 30 pounds heavier than you. That's why.
He missed weight. I cut weight too early, too fast. That's a story.
He didn't cut weight at all. That's what he did.
No.
I just remember
I got 10% of his purse because he missed weight.
I literally just remember being hammer drunk. I think we took a party bus over there for that fight.
And 100% of his fist is what he...
Offense. Derek Carr, Jarrett Stidham, Chase Garber's got the axe. No shocks here, no surprises here. Stidham played really well.
I like him, man.
Against a lot of first string defenses.
Yeah.
He just calm, easy. Everything looked easy. Everything looked in control. Everything looked simple. Made the simple plays. Made the big play when it was there. Nothing forced. I mean, he ran when he needed to, and fucking with fucking Leatherwood out there, he needed to a lot. But yeah, man, he kept the ball moving. He limited the negative plays, and that's one thing that I looked at. How many negative plays are we getting here? Are we getting these Jon Gruden 1st and 10 every single time, run up the middle, negative 1 yard? No, we're getting these, very little negative plays on by these guys, and that was good. I'm pleasantly surprised by his play.
I'd agree, man. No turnovers is the big one. He knows McDaniels' offense. He made plays, through the air, on the ground, good on third down. Red zone offense was good, and he doesn't cost $7 million too, so that's kind of cool.
Like, what did I say all last season? What do we need from our backup quarterback? Really, only 2 things:
Steady.
run the same offense as the one, and be healthy. Now he's coming off a back surgery, so we'll wait and see if Stidham can stay healthy. But he knows the offense better than Derek, right? Been with the Pats, been with Josh McDaniels for a while. Like, that's all we need him to be, right? Be able to run the offense. That's up there, right? Let's, God forbid, Carr goes down the second quarter. Jared can come right in, not miss a beat. Instead of like, okay, let's bring in the Marcus Mariota playbook. Let's get back to like page 87 and do the 9 things he can do, right? It's like, nope, plug him in, give us a chance to win. Love it. Here's where things start getting interesting. Running back. We got a lot of them. Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, Britton Brown. They cut Austin Walter, and we'll throw in Jakob Johnson at fullback. You count the fullback, 6 running backs. They say like it's Josh McDaniels likes running back by committee. This is like running back by quorum. It's so stacked.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jacobs and Zamir White are pretty much the same player as far as the system goes. They do the same thing. Brandon Bolden is going to be more of the everything type of back where he can be some third down. He could be some, early down. Amir Abdullah is going to be a strictly third down guy. And then you have Jakob being the fullback. But
Britton Brown.
Oh, yeah, Britton Brown, special teams guy. Just 100% special teams.
I think the very first person we sign, Britton Brown goes to the practice squad. I think he's number 53 of the 53 just because he ran pretty good. Like, he's a good little running back.
He for sure hell did.
He held his own. I'm hoping, because again, UCLA guy, so I'm rooting for him. I'm hoping that they're like, all right, we want this guy in our practice squad. We don't want to lose him. Let's keep him on, have him beat waivers, and then when we hopefully sign some new right tackles or something, we'll try to sneak him into our practice squad under the radar and try to keep him, because he's a good little running back. And we lose. Every team loses running backs every season, right? Josh Jacobs, we know his history, right? And Zamir White handled the NFL workload. Bolden's no spring chicken, right? If we're down to like, second, third string running backs, I would love for it to be Britton Brown. I'd be very happy if it comes down to it. That would be decent.
Yeah, the key thing for keeping having every single one of these running backs be productive is getting that tackle, man. Mm-hmm. You can have a bunch of, B plus running backs, and as long as you can block for them, you don't need an A plus running back to get production. You got to be able to block for them. You can have an A running back.
So many running backs. ESPN doesn't have enough space for it. They're like, why would we ever have a 5th option here? No one's going to have 5 quarterbacks or 5 running backs. Josh McDaniels says, hold my beer.
Be right back.
Amir Abdullah as well is going to get some return work. We know that.
Yeah.
And apparently, so one of the Kenyon Drake sound bites that was interesting, they said that Brandon Bolden is built like a Greek god. Like, he's just the most sculpted dude. He's in incredible shape. We have no idea how they're planning on using Bolden. Is he just special teams? Is he actually going to get some reps, some runs? Who knows?
He took over. He took over the White role with the New England. He was the receiving back after White went down.
Then here's another potential example. Is Ziegler just kind of like, all right, Bolden, you were a good teammate with us with the Pats. We'll put you on the 53, but you're going to be a practice squad guy. Let's just get you a couple extra bucks and help the guys learn. Is this maybe another example of maybe it's not always the best guys? We'll throw this guy a bone because we like him.
I mean, he was productive though. I mean, he's not a scrub. He was a productive player. No. So I can see all these guys getting decent work during the season.
Can I just remind everyone, Josh Jacobs had over, I think it's 5.1 yards per carry against the Chargers. in Week 18 last year. He had a touchdown, 125 yards, and he basically iced the game for us, right? Some of those big, short yardage moments that he came through in a big, big way. And honestly, if we weren't running the ball as successfully as we did in that game, we probably wouldn't have won that game. So a healthy Josh Jacobs against the Chargers, against that pass rush, is important. So it'll be interesting to see how much they lean on him versus splitting it up between Zamir and, Abdullah and Bolden. I would be pounding Josh Jacobs until he gets injured.
Damn. Spit on it first, Rory.
Yeah, if only Josh Jacobs could run against the worst run defense in the NFL every week. That would be great. Right. But when he does, he takes advantage. Wide receiver. God, this is beautiful. I almost want to say it in a dirty tone. Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Mac Hollins, Tyron Johnson, DJ Turner. These are the guys that didn't make it. Keelan Cole, Dylan Stoner, Isaiah Zuber, and then he's even counting Demarcus Robinson that we got rid of earlier.
We were talking about it after the game in the post-game show, and there's a reason why Stoner and Cole were in there in the fourth quarter. Whereas let's showcase these guys, and we saw 3, maybe 4 late trades, maybe was 3 or 4. Nobody wants your trash, man. Just dump them. There's other guys. We like the guys that have been in our system already. We're not going to pick up your trash right now. It's tough. It's a shot in the dark. We actually traded a guy late, but it's not likely to happen. These are the guys that were there. These are the guys that were being productive. These are the guys that are making plays against the defense and against other teams' ones when we did joint practices. So those are the guys that stuck around. I like DJ Turner, man. I like him. He's like a running back when he has the ball.
Yeah. God forbid anything happens to Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, but Tyron Johnston, DJ Turner, Mac Hollins, all 3 of them can hurt you in different ways. They all play special teams. They must have picked up the playbook, otherwise they wouldn't be in this spot. Again, I think it's crazy. If you would have gone back to the beginning of the offseason and said, we're going to cut both Robinson and Keelan Cole, we would have said you're high. There's no way that's going to happen.
It just goes to show you what I've been saying about roster building forever. It's like, yeah, you want every position to have guys that could do everything, right? You want everyone to be a 9.5 or 10, but you have a salary cap. You can't afford it, right? So you build your offensive line as big power dudes, or you make them small, quick guys for outside zones or screens. Like you build your roster, you find an identity that lowers your price tag. You find the best guys that just do those roles you need. That's our wide receiver room. Like Davante Adams, like you go out and you'll spend $28 million in a couple in a first and second round pick for a guy who is a 9.5 at least at everything, right? You have the one guy that's the 9.5 at everything, and then you have Hunter Renfrow as the slot guy, Johnson as the speedster, Turner as the wiggle dude, Matt Collins kind of like, the big 6'4" physical wide receiver, right? Like you get all those little pieces, right? Like you can't, if you get guys that are like 9.5s at everything, salary cap goes crazy. It's like, all right, these are your roles, right? But it does kind of scare me depth-wise because none of them can really fill the roles of the starter. They have their preordained roles. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't see what happens if anyone goes down, but I'd be curious to see what happens if someone goes down.
Yeah, that's throughout the NFL, though, man. It's just the way it is in the world, the way that the top-end guys in the contracts are going. If you lose one, it's going to be hard to replace them. It's going to be more of a Hunter moving into that role instead of one of the bench guys taking over. Like, let's say, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to put it out there.
Yeah, don't even think it.
Yeah, not going to happen. I'm going to stop right there.
Let's move on before we tempt fate. Tight end, Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, Jesper Horsted. Congratulations, Jesper. Cole Farthingham didn't make it. And then and Hollister on the IR.
Yeah, I mean, Horsted, he was a good blocker. He caught the ball when it was thrown to him. He made a couple nice catches over the middle. I mean, we would think maybe they would keep 4 because,
tight end said
JMD likes to use tight ends. So, but I mean, they kept 3. It's not an uncalled for number.
We'll see. We will see plays where all 3 of them are on the field at one time.
Guaranteed. Oh yeah, definitely.
Guaranteed.
Definitely.
Yep. Played himself into the role. Called it last week. Great preseason.
I'm really curious to see what he does with actual decent quarterback throwing to him, right? He was with the Bears last season, played 13 games, and he had a couple tiny like flash moments, but like now you've got a real quarterback and you're like the number 9 guy that the defense needs to worry about. So
I see him being like a late leak on like a 4th and 1 on like R 47. And he'd be like a late leak because nobody covers him down the seam. He's just freaking running like crazy. Just something like that.
Have him block like 8 plays in a row and then just.
He's not a big dude. He's 6'3", 237. Came from Princeton, so he's a smart dude. He's probably defined a role on special teams, and that's what ultimately won him the job.
Rory, he knows angles and leverage. He was an engineering major.
All I needed to hear.
I'm buying it.
Offensive line. And we ended with this one for a reason.
Goddamn.
Colton Miller, Dylan Parham, Andre James, Lester Cotton Sr., Jermaine Eliminior, John Simpson, Thayer Munford Jr., Jackson. I'm never going to get his name right. Cut.
RJ just glitched.
His brain froze.
Alex Leatherwood, Alex Bars, Jordan Meredith, Olasani, and Harness Grasu.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
Yeah, man.
Gone. 8. This is why we know for sure that this current 53 will not be the same 53 11 days from now when they suit up against the Chargers. Only 8 offensive linemen with Brandon Parker on IR.
Yeah, you probably have one more. You probably need one more.
Yeah.
They're really high on Thayer Munford starting at tackle. Maybe not right away, but later this year, possibly. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I've read. But also that Parham might start at left guard over Simpson.
No,
not happening. That's what I'm reading.
So let's go through it. So Colton Miller, obviously a lock, but Jackson Barton came on really strong in that last game. Like really, really strong. Great at left tackle, good at left guard. Won the swing tackle job, especially with Illuminor going over to right tackle, it seems. John Simpson lock, Dylan Parham lock. It's a credit to Parham that they didn't keep Grasu, right? The backup center.
Or Bars.
He had a pretty good offseason and preseason with us. That flexibility is huge. Cotton is basically our starting right guard, which is a little scary, but we'll roll with it. And then right tackle again, I'm betting my money on Illuminor being our starting right tackle, and Munford maybe getting some reps later on in the year, but I don't know, man. He did not look like a capable right tackle yet, to me.
Munford also played guard, so there's that flexibility that we have there. What you're looking at here is flexibility with these guys, which is what you need. Barton, I was very impressed by Barton on that touchdown run. I was doing some film. I wanted to do a film breakdown of it, but it was just
he could move for like a big goobery.
Dude, look, he had to clear the space, so he had to take a back step, and he was basically a yard behind the running back, and he got out to make the block faster than the running back got out there, with his momentum going backwards at first. So he changed direction, and he moved up, and he caught that defensive lineman or the linebacker. That was a great play. I was gonna do a video on it, but yes, Sunday was the chick's birthday, and I had to do all that stuff.
Oh, poor Jackson Barton.
Should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Well, I already started, but go ahead.
Well, look, we've all been wondering why haven't they picked up another tackle in free agency, right? They got the cap space. There's some guys out there, and I think it was just like it just goes to show how frugal they can be. It's like, why would we force this now? Let's wait until there's literally thousands of free agents floating around that don't make the 53, and then we'll make our pick of the litter. That's what it feels like to me. Now you're counting on waivers. Now you're counting on other people's scrap heaps. Doesn't bode a lot of confidence for an offense that should be lights fucking out if the line can hold. I don't know if I like this strategy. They're just like, all right, we'll just wait until because right tackles just grow on trees and fall in our laps. Like, we'll just wait for that to happen.
I think the thing is they're comfortable with what the guys that they have. They're comfortable with them. Maybe not that's their ideal. They're comfortable. And if someone shakes out after this waiver period, and that's an upgrade, then whether it's a slight one or a big one or whatever, there'll be guys out there. There's always and especially tackles that are a little bit older, maybe. One man's trash is another man's treasure, especially at the dollar amount. Because that's the thing you have to take a look at. It's not that these guys, especially the linemen, are getting cut or getting released because they're bad players. Maybe they're not worth it at the price where they are now, and they would be worth it at a much lower price to someone else.
That's fair. I mean, should we talk about who's available out there right now? Because I agree with you, RJ. Like, I don't like this strategy. If we can pick holes in the strategy this offseason, I think not carrying, seasoned veterans at wide receiver could come back and bite us in the ass potentially. But this one's the glaring one for me. Yeah. It's like we haven't really had a plan for this except seeing what we have in house. There's some names out there. There is Jordan Mills. The 49ers cut him today. He's had 87 career starts. He's serviceable at right tackle. Darrell Williams is still out there. I don't know why. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Marcus Cannon, the former Patriot, is still out there. And, if they've got a background on him, if they like him, they'll bring him in. And then there was also rumors of Isaiah Wynn from the Patriots, who they would have just had a close look at. And last but not least is Andre Dillard, who's the tackle that the Eagles drafted in the first round a couple of years ago. He's now a backup because they've obviously found their franchise left tackle. And he switched to right tackle in 2019, and he's apparently on the block too. So there's a couple options out there, but they've got to learn a playbook. They've got to get ready for the Chargers. There's not a long window here. And it's a little scary, man.
I think there's an aggressive trade that needs to happen. I mean, you get a scrap heap guy, try him out, get him in there, right? Get him into the system for pennies. But I think there needs to be an aggressive trade.
Again, these guys aren't scrap heap guys because they can't. They're not scrap heap guys because they can't play. They're scrap heap guys because maybe their salary has far outreached their usefulness as a player to that team. I can't use you at this price. I have other guys that can come in here and do it. He's like a Kenyon Drake. He's not a scrap heap guy. We had to get rid of him because he was just making too much money for what we can get with somebody else who was a lot cheaper. That's that. There's guys out there that are much better than what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're having this conversation for one reason and one reason only. Alex Leatherwood couldn't make it 1.1 seasons in the NFL before he was cut. The Raiders waived the former first-round pick earlier today on Wednesday. According to Ian Rappaport, they tried to trade him to everyone, got 32 no's.
They even said no to themselves.
Like, did they try to trade him to like the USFL, like to the entire league, like the entire USFL? They're like, anyone want him? And they all said no as well.
XFL is like, listen, no, we want good players on the XFL.
Obviously, Rappaport didn't have his calculator out, but this we all kind of like all of Raider Nation thought this could be a possibility the last 2 weeks or so.
I was pounding the table for it.
You think like 6 or 7 months ago would have been unheard of. Like I can't think of a first round pick that got waived before his second year began, unless injury or trouble with the law. Like just simply a first round pick. You're like, nope, we'd rather eat that dead money than risk you having Derek Carr get decapitated. Like not even like a third string dude, not even like a guy was like, all right, the cap is so hard. Let's see if we can develop him. Let's try. No, not even that. Gone. That's unheard of. Oh, wait. Because it's been like our reality the last few weeks, we've kind of made peace with it. But like, put yourself back 6 months ago. You're like, yeah, Leatherwood, they're going to waive him. You won't even make the 53. You're like,
I said it.
What?
I also said Abram too, but Abram doesn't have the fate of the quarterback of our team in his hands, and Leatherwood potentially does. So it's a little bit easier call on that. I said it from the beginning. Everyone's like, oh, he's doing great. He's working out. He's losing weight. He's this and that, blah, 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 this other crap. Listen, man, I said it from then, and I would say it again. I have to see it on the field. And what I saw on the field was regression. He got worse than last year. Yeah. And he was getting beat cleanly by backups, by third-string guys. He was getting manhandled by guys a lot smaller than him. He was off balance. He still was grabby. He still was outside on everything. He showed really weak arms and weak hands. It looked like a guy who was in the band, and like, yeah, you're a big dude. You want to play football? Like, let's how you can play football. Their first practice, that's what Leatherwood looked like. His hands were all over the place. He was off balance. He was getting thrown on anywhere. Like I said earlier, I watched his tape on the last game, and he played almost the entire game. And there was 3 plays where he either didn't get beat cleanly or he didn't get thrown to the ground, manhandled. And it's just, you can't have that. It is unheard of to have a first rounder and it's not make it to his second year because of play, maybe because of injury or whatever, but because of play strictly because he was healthy last year. And that
was his one positive.
Our boy Sanjeet, man, I hate to call you out because you're my boy, you helped me out a lot. But he tweeted out, well, look at Colton Miller, look at these guys. Like he named a couple of guys, and I'm like, dude, most of these guys that you're naming were injured as rookies, and Dalvin Cook was injured his first 2 seasons before he was healthy. Leatherwood played every single game, and he got worse this year against inferior competition. Imagine with these third-string guys from Miami whooping his ass, he's going to go up against freaking Bosa and fucking Mack in the first week. You got to be kidding me, bro. And we're one step away from him being out there.
Mm-hmm. Complete regression. Everything that he worked on in the offseason, getting in better shape, working on his pass set, working on his footwork, working on his hands, it looked like he lost confidence immediately at right tackle at some point. And it's completely true. Like, everyone could see it. He was getting beaten every possible way. And there's no, they could have kept him because of the dead cap hit. They could have kept him as a backup right guard. But essentially, you are taking away a roster spot from someone else that would improve the team more than Leatherwood would. So it was addition by subtraction. It just fucking hurts. It's another just epic, historical, it's one of the worst busts in NFL history, even though he was number 17 overall because of the return. It is such a terrible draft pick from beginning to end, and it's another wasted opportunity. It just sucks. It really sucks. Like,
Jamarcus Russell got a second season, right? Like, even he got a second season.
He got a third season, didn't he? After his third year was released,
I thought it was his second year he got let go.
I think it was his third year.
I don't remember. Look, anyway,
Tony Mandarich. Tony Mandarich was a huge bust, right? He was a second pick overall. He was going to be the biggest. He's the best tackle ever on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He washed out as a tackle with Green Bay. But guess what? He had a nice career at guard with Indianapolis. He still came back and had a nice career. He wasn't as bad as Leatherwood. Hopefully, look, on a personal level, a team level first, I'm glad he's gone. Because he was a liability left and right. I don't trust him. You can't win with a guy like that on your team. Number one. Okay. Personally, I hope maybe if he catches on somewhere else, hopefully through waivers, so we don't have to spend all that money. But if he catches on somewhere else where he can develop and learn, he doesn't have that pressure of being the first round pick of that specific team. He's been humbled. He doesn't have that kind of shine on him as being a first rounder. He can then develop and maybe some of the anxiety or whatever's keeping him from performing at his best. It'll help him in the future, hopefully for his sake. But man, he's set financially for life now. He for all accounts he tried, but goddamn, man.
So for this to happen, so for a bust of this magnitude to happen, it takes more than just sucking. He sucks, but it takes other things too. And I think if we were set at right tackle, like if we had a Colton Miller-ish guy at right tackle, I think the Raiders would have kept him. Just be like, all right, let's not bite the bullet. Let's see if we can develop him, right? Like let's not.
Yeah, if we were more solid across the line,
more solid. They're like, okay, we can afford to have a long-term project, which he clearly is. We can't. We're all hands on deck. We don't have a right tackle, so it's like we need everyone who could potentially be that guy needs to maybe be able to start in 11 days as of right this second, right? Which clearly Leatherwood can't, right? So he had that going against him. 2, new regime, right? There's no loyalty there, right? That's another part of the equation. I also feel like this is one of the big busts for me on Ziegler. Like this is, I think, Ziegler's and McDaniels' first big error. Like obviously they inherited a guy that's not good, right? But the other part is like, if you knew he wasn't the guy, if you knew you wanted to trade him, or you knew that like he can't play right tackle for you, why did you put him at his worst position? They should have had him play right guard all preseason, the best position, run a bunch of power. That was the one thing he did. He was a decent power run blocker. he was not bad at that.
He can move.
That was the one thing. Like he's physical specimen.
He got
tall,
ragdolled, dude. He got ragdolled and run too.
At tackle, right?
No,
at right guard.
at tackle, but in the run game.
He's just. I think he's a head case because you don't technically get like your skills don't deteriorate like that. I think something's happening up here where he just felt uncomfortable, felt lost, and gave up. Like the problem's between the ears, which is why I think he might still be able to develop somewhere. I'm just like, do we still kind of keep him? Because this is the problem. It's not the physical. It's not, like the technique's bad, but the technique doesn't just disappear, right? You don't just forget how to ride a bike or like get worse at riding a bike the more you do it, unless something's happening up here. So I feel like Josh McDaniels, and this is what you want to do with a strong team, and that's what McDaniels has been talking about. We put guys in hard situations. We put you guys in positions where you're probably going to fail, and we want you to overcome that and be stronger from it. And that's what the type of players we want. It doesn't sound like that was Leatherwood, right? Crumbled. And so if you want to get value for him, a guy that has all the physical tools and was a first rounder, and you put him on the biggest stage you have available and put him in position to fail. If you knew he wasn't the guy, you put him at right guard and put him in position to succeed so you can get something for him. So this is, yes, they were dealt a shit hand. Leatherwood, not the guy that Tom Cable and Jon Gruden and Mayock hope they drafted. Not a guy that fits culturally, so it seems, with this new regime. But they also handled him terribly poorly. Like they got nothing out of a first rounder that's not even in his second year. Zero, zilch, nada, and you're going to have to pay him and kill your dead cap. That is a failure on Ziegler's part.
Okay, here's the deal. Number one, he's not the only person you're evaluating at the time. Okay, so you do have to look at the rest of the team as well. You talk about running power the entire time. You're evaluating, you're showcasing other guys too. They played him a lot in the preseason. They gave him every opportunity to go out there and put something out there. Put something out there, and he shit the bed. This is all. You're
looking at the wrong way.
No. I'm not looking at it the wrong way. I'm looking at it a different way. I'm looking at it a different way, not necessarily the wrong way.
Incorrectly.
They gave him. Okay, stop.
Piss poor way.
Okay, yeah, your way.
I actually agree with Soto on this one.
They gave him every opportunity to go out there and play against ones, against twos, and against threes, and he got shit on every single time he went out there. What else do you want to do for this guy besides?
You're looking at it wrong. We're not trying to do the man a favor.
Go ahead.
We're not trying to do.
We are. We're trying.
No, we're not. No. We're not trying to do Alex Leatherwood, the human being, a favor. We're trying to get value out of an error in our past. That's what we're trying to do. Right? We're trying to make Alex Leatherwood look as good as possible so we can trade him and get something and try to eat some of that cap that
we played him
at a terrible position, at a position where he fails. Play him at right guard just enough, put him in late against the twos and the threes, get some good footage of him at right guard, and then try to get some value for him. Instead, they're like, all right, you're playing against ones at right tackle, a position you're not good at.
And twos and threes.
For what it's worth, I don't think they condemned him that early, RJ. I think they gave him every opportunity to show some form of improvement because they didn't want to eat this cap. They didn't want to cut this guy because they knew it was going to be bad press. They knew it was going to look shit. I think that they gave him every opportunity to be successful in practice and then in games. And, they tried with right tackle. He didn't do it. They tried a right guard. He couldn't do it. And ultimately, on cut day, they made a tough decision. I don't think they were trying to shop him from the moment they got in. And if they would, obviously you're right. They would have put him at right guard and seen if he could do anything.
They made... Look, the results are the results. You have a first rounder, not even his second year. You got nothing for, and you're paying dead cap, right? A lot of it's not in your hands. But they made one of two errors. Either they didn't recognize that he couldn't make the squad early enough, or they did, and they put him in position to fail. One of those two things happened. That's the end result.
They put him into this position to succeed, and he
not right tackle. He's never succeeded at right tackle.
They put him in the position to succeed, and he failed.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, and his failure is going to cost the Raiders. Again, don't treat it as
not
like
on the field.
It's not like, well, Leatherwood's wrong and Ziegler's right. Like, I don't care about the right and wrong. Like, I don't care about like who morally has the high ground. I care about the results and the tangible value that it's going to cost us. Right? It's like, well, we gave him every opportunity and he failed himself. It's like, well, now the Raiders are paying for it. Like, that's not what I care about. Like, they did one of those two things wrong. Right? They had to know that it's a chess piece. It's not a human being.
I think they missed on the evaluation, and that happens. Ultimately, again, they wanted to see some form of improvement, and he did not improve. Saban and his coaching staff couldn't improve him. Cable, Gruden's coaching staff couldn't improve him. New coaching staff comes in this year, couldn't improve him. At which point, you cut your losses and you're gone. That's ultimately what it came down to.
I'm just saying, make sure that like there's Ziegler and McDaniels share some of this disaster, and it is a disaster. They share some. What percentage? We can have that argument another day, right? Obviously, Gruden drafting him is a big problem. Leatherwood not doing himself any favor, a big problem. Cable literally pounding the table for him, part of it. But how Ziegler and McDaniels handled him, it's part of the equation. And that's the only people that we can hold accountable right now, because no one else is there, right? Mayock's gone, Gruden's gone, Cable's gone. Like, they don't care if he succeeds or fails. Like, that doesn't affect their lives at all. It affects McDaniels and Mayock, or McDaniels and Ziegler's.
No, God, I hope not, Mayock.
Anything else on Alex Neverwood?
I never want to say his name again as a Raider.
What are the chances that he develops into a average starting offensive lineman of any position? Because the physical tools are there, the pedigree is there, and I feel like it's not an easy fix, but it's a very obvious fix. If he can go somewhere where he's comfortable and his head can get right, he's got the tools.
So the three of us right now should go on record. Do you think he's going to be successful in the NFL, meaning solid NFL starter at some point in his career? I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't think he's got it in him.
From where he's starting from right now, technique-wise, it's such a huge jump from where he is to you're looking at him being an average guy. You don't normally see those huge jumps where a guy is so poor and he can just consistently do it under pressure, and that could be the main thing, is under pressure. And we see like guys like what the fuck was his name? The guy from the fucking the Blind Side. What was his name?
Michael Orr.
Yeah, Michael Orr. That pressure that he had, like he had a decent years in the beginning, but he tailed off towards he didn't have a lot long of a career, especially with Baltimore, and he got a little bit progressively worse and worse. And that pressure, it doesn't get any better. It didn't get any easier when you face these guys, these top end defensive tackle or defensive ends every single week. That's a huge jump. That pressure's not going away. How you handle it, yeah, great, but still his technique and it's just, it didn't mesh, man. He was able to physically impose his will against lesser competition in college. But you get to pros and you can't do that, man. And it's about your technique over anything else. And he just didn't have it. He didn't have it in here. He didn't have it technique-wise. I just see him being a below-average guy, a max below-average guy.
So yes or no?
No. I think it's going to take remember when Amari Cooper went to the Cowboys and he was all stoked because, like, in Gruden's locker room, like, they don't baby anybody, right? They don't, no babying. It's like, you're here to play football. We're going to play hard. We're going to grind, right? At the Cowboys locker room, they're like, oh, Amari, you like chess? Let's start a fucking chess club just to make you feel at home. Like, let's knit you a little pillow that says home sweet home and put it in your little cubby, right? Like, they babied him. And for a guy like Amari Cooper, who's kind of similar to Leatherwood, other Bama guy, right? Needs to be babied. He thrived under it for a while, right? Leatherwood's going to need an environment like that because obviously McDaniels and Gruden run very different locker rooms, but they're similar in the sense where it's like, we're not babying anybody. You're scratching and clawing to survive because it's going to make you stronger, right? Like, they're both kind of similar in that type of mentality. He's gonna need a head coach or an O-line coach or fucking an assistant scout or whoever. Someone that's gonna like put his arm around him, say, "You can do it, buddy. Here's a lollipop. Let's go on the sled and practice." Like, he's gonna need that somewhere, and I think if he gets that, I think he can have a career in the NFL. But the stars are going to have to align. Like, he's going to need to be in the perfect situation for that to happen.
So you're saying yes?
I'm going to say no. I think it's going to be hard to find. I think if he does survive, it's going to be because that he landed at exactly the right spot, and that's not uncommon for almost every single player. Like, how many players just had to, like, fell into the right situation and it worked out? How many players fell into the terrible situation? Like, again, he's got all the physical tools. His skills aren't getting worse because his skills are worse. His skills got worse because his brain stopped working, because emotionally he was out of it.
Look, man, I've seen it before too with the guy I played with. He got away with certain things because he was just really strong and really big. Then when he started playing better people, he never had the technique. He was never able to put it together. So when he was coached hard and forced to use technique over his physical tools, he looked even worse because the only thing he could do was use his physical tools, which wasn't working anyway. I just don't see it, man. Unfortunately, I feel bad for the guy, but whatever.
I don't feel bad for the guy at all. I feel bad for us,
Right.
And our salary cap hit and our fucking gaping hole at right tackle. That's what I feel.
Yeah,
man. One guy we can all agree on is awesome. Is in a little bit of sticky situation, interesting situation. Josina Anderson tweeted out, "My understanding is Raiders tight end Darren Waller has had a deal in discussion that would make him the highest paid at his position in terms of at least the new money average per year metric at $16 million a year per league source. Waller is currently in the midst of changing representation." So he left his representation a few days ago. There's a 5-day waiting period. That'll come up in the next 2 days, I think, where you can have a new rep.
Thursday.
This isn't, I don't think this is groundbreaking news, but it's not news either. Josina Anderson, not really a major like beat writer news breaker. This is obviously great. Like if you want this news to leak, you're in Waller's camp. You're like, oh yeah, he's gonna get a new deal. Best deal in football. He's gonna get more than Travis Kelce, more than Mark Andrews, more than everybody. He's gonna get this crazy new deal coming off of injury at 31, 30. I don't know. What do you guys make of this tweet?
If all this is true, I think that we're looking at a good deal for us this year. We can finagle a little bit of his contract, maybe free up a little bit more cap space and ease some of that, Leatherwood hit, change some money into bonus money and this and that. So kind of what I figured, I like when I was talking about contracts and tight ends and we should wait. He's going to get $1 million a year more than Kittle does. It's like that's going to be the jump,
Yeah.
Or not even a whole million. I mean, 700,000, I think. But yeah, man, I think he wants representation to be able to take him through this whole thing. I think it'd be a great thing if it's true. I think right now he's not practicing and not really doing much because maybe he might be still a little bit dinged up. We don't know what it is. If he had a contract, he might be more apt to go out there because he has a contract. And I think he wants to be completely healthy without a contract. So I think it's fine. I think I'll get taken care of this off week before next week's game.
Look, so at the start of this offseason, I put my foot in the sand and said I think we should re-sign him this offseason. I know you were against that, Soto, initially.
Mm-hmm.
As am I.
The reason I wanted to do it was
left.
because, yeah, he's got 2 years left, but the gap between what he should be getting paid and what he's currently getting paid is pretty severe. Like, he's below average pay for a tight end, and he's a top 4 tight end all day long, right? Plus, he's 29 right now. He's about to turn 30 in September. He is coming off of an injury. This is his last, in theory, this could be his last big payday. And frankly, he would not have dropped his agent if he was happy with how the negotiations are going currently. And obviously, he's about to go into the season unsigned. So, it's pretty obvious what's going on. He wants a contract before he comes back. I would get the deal done personally. I think you reward your homegrown talent. And, there's a lot of unknowns going into this season. One unknown is not Darren Waller and Derek Carr and their relationship and their skill set together, the chemistry together. I want him signed. I hope the deal gets done. I hope he goes in and he could be the difference maker against the Chargers.
You've got 2 years on his contract. He's not going to hold out. He's not going to half-ass it. He's not going to be a locker room poison. You play the next year on this contract, and you pay him after next year. You've got him. You've got him by the balls. Now, it doesn't have to be black and white, right? It doesn't have to be all right, give me my current value $16 million a year deal right this second. There's ways you can finagle it, and maybe that's why. You could be 100% correct. Like, you could be like, nope, I want my contract. I want to an agent that's going to do it right now. That could be very well be true. Another thing that could be true is, all right, maybe my agent just isn't creative enough. Maybe we can do like they've done deals where like, all right, let's guarantee a couple $1 million from the second year and throw it into the first year. Let's do let's meet you in the middle somewhere. Let's get creative with this contract. So to make you happy enough to make it not be a big deal. Because again, he's such a team player. He's not going to sit out. Like, I'm with you, Soto. Like we talked about it pre-show. If he's like 50-50 with an injury, it's like, I'm gonna get healthy. Like I'm not gonna go in there.
Yeah.
You know, if I had $16 million guaranteed, all right, I'll play on it. But it's all non-guaranteed. I'm gonna keep sitting out because he only, I think, practiced once this entire preseason. Obviously, didn't play any preseason games. So, I'm with you on that. Not a full like sit out, but kind of gray area. I think you can gray area this enough to keep him happy, and then you give him the big contract after next season after he's meshed with this offense and McDaniels can really take him out for a spin. I don't think it has to be a make or break right this second.
It's a good argument.
I get it. I understand, but having been this far, honestly, like I agree with Rory. Like I think that the ball is like maybe at the 5-yard line right now, and sticking point is just some of the like you said, RJ, the creativeness. You know, they're not as creative, and they need to make things work for everybody. Maybe Clutch was being a little bit more strong arm hardball. Hey, this is what it is.
Take it or leave it, or he's sitting.
Take it or leave it, or he's sitting. And then
no,
Waller's like, wait, no, I'm not sitting.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't do me any good. Number one, and I want to make more money, not lose money, because with the CBA guys that sit out, they lose a ton of money, and they can't get that money back.
Yeah.
Maybe looking for someone who's a little more creative, like you said, who can finagle some numbers, push some numbers around, and look. The Raiders have plenty of cash flow right now where they can just, throw some bonuses around and, here and there and see what we can do about making everybody happy. I think there is going to be a middle ground. I think when nobody's happy with a deal, that means it's a fair deal, right? Everyone think they should have gotten more. It's usually a fair deal. I think we're going to hit that point pretty soon.
Yeah, middle ground it this season. Let him earn the next contract this season. I think that's fair. Well, the guy that found him, or at least the guy that had the regime that found him, old Chucky reared his ugly head. Jon Gruden popped up in Arkansas of all places.
Arkansas.
Was it Kansas?
No, Arkansas.
Popped up with a microphone in front of cameras randomly and was asked a pretty softball question. He was asked, obviously you're suing the NFL. There's not a lot you can talk about, but you've seen how like your players have talked to you, your former coaches have talked about you, your colleagues have talked about you. Just here's your chance to kind of address the people in the room about everything that happened with you and the emails and getting fired. You talked for about 2 minutes. Here's the 30 seconds of it that's most pertinent.
I'm not going to say anything but honest things here. I'm ashamed about what has come.
First off, if I ever start a sentence with "I'm only going to say honest things," don't ever believe me.
That's like, look, you can trust me, man. You can trust me.
See these snakeskin boots, alligator suit, and slick back hair? Yeah, this Honda Civic, only a grandma drove it to and from the grocery store for every few years.
Like when someone asks you a question, they tilt her head, like, you believe me, right? You believe me, right?
I'm going to be really honest here. Like, oh, so the times you say you're not going to be honest, you're going to be something else?
So unless you say that, then you're lying. Okay,
yeah.
Sweet.
Glad we got that settled, Jay or John. Thank you so much.
I'm not going to say anything but honest things here. I'm ashamed about what has come about in these emails, and I'll make no excuses for it. It's shameful. But I am a good person. I believe that. I go to church. I've been married for 31 years. I got 3 great boys. I still love football. I've made some mistakes, but I don't think anybody else in here hasn't. And I just ask for forgiveness, and hopefully I get another shot.
You can tell he's been lifting in his time off. Guns or like
eating too.
Eating like it's just body mass index.
You got general, that dirty bulk going. I'm gonna get some in and out and just curls.
He's slowly morphing into Mr. Davis. He really is.
Like he's mixing between his
bags are getting shorter too. You gotta watch out.
He's merging into a version of his son that's the power lifter and Mark Davis. He's like getting buffer and like weirder in the head.
And he eats freaking fast food every freaking day.
So what do you guys make of this comment?
I don't know, man. Look, it's shitty the whole situation, how it went down. He did it to himself, and in all reality, when it all boils down to it, it wasn't like somebody, forced his fingers to write those emails. The way they came out was real shitty. I've said some really shitty things when I was pissed off, and I didn't lose my job for it. But when you're a public person, when you're the public eye, when you have a lot of money backing your company and you're a big part of that, you get bigger responsibilities. As far as him being able to get another chance, I get it. He can't say certain things right now because of the lawsuit. I think after the lawsuit is settled and he can maybe give a little bit better apology of what he gave, because he was kind of deflecting, like, yeah, I did something wrong, but everyone else has too. Like, no, I said this, I said that. This is why this was hurtful. This is why this is wrong. I understand where I was wrong. That's when the healing could start with people's minds. And I think, yeah, he should probably get another shot down the road if he wants one, but that has to happen first.
I thought he nailed it. I thought he really nailed it. He took accountability. He said it was shameful. I don't mind him drawing attention to the fact that everyone makes mistakes. I thought he nailed it. It was good to see Gruden back, obviously. If anything's going to stop him from getting another shot, it's the fucking draft picks that him and Mayock are responsible for.
Oh, he ain't getting GM powers wherever he goes. He ain't getting GM powers if he was like a Pop Warner coach. Like, oh no, we'll let the PTA handle that. I don't know. It sounds like he really wants to coach again, and I don't know why the hell he'd want to. Like, he's got tens of millions of dollars in the bank. He's probably gonna make tens of millions of dollars suing the NFL. He's getting up there in age. It's like
he likes it, man.
Yeah, he loves football.
He likes doing it. It's not work for him. He likes it.
Yeah.
That man loves football.
I wouldn't want that.
That's
what about coaching college? Think you could coach college?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it's pros or nothing. Yeah, I'd give him an XFL team. Fuck it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Hey,
why not?
That'd be huge. That'd be a big
awesome.
get.
Gonna be huge.
In the XFL, they actually you're allowed to practice. You know what I mean?
Right.
You guys ready to do some what up windbags?
Oh yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Jaws. This is in referring to this is a comment on talking about how Bill Barnwell was going to say like the Raiders are going to regress because their point differential and things like that. Jaws said the second Chiefs game was the catalyst that drove the Raiders to the playoffs last year. That was the game we lost, got down to 6-7, got our dicks completely kicked in. So tonight on the post-fight show, we're like, fire everybody, season's over, this is awful. Like holding shotgun barrels in our mouths. And they reeled off 4 straight wins in a row against all more talented teams and made it to the playoffs for just the second time in 2 decades. Do you think that I never even thought of it this way. Do you think that ass kicking, it depressed all of us and made us think the season was over? But do you think that's what propelled this Raiders team to go on that incredible run to end the season?
Nah, it's too big of an ass kick. I think it was just the fact that the pressure was off. Like, we got to win 4. How many straight? All right, let's just go out there and freaking just play our game. Because honestly, like, we didn't have any superhuman effort by any one person in these games. It was just a lot of wacky, things that don't show up on the
it was a team unity thing, which is why I feel like this has some merit, right? Because it wasn't
we tried the team unity thing before this game. We're stomping on the freaking the Arrowhead, and we got it shoved up our ass.
But that's my point. Here's another version together. This is all right, we were all in this, we all survived this earthquake together, right? We're all in this bunker licking our wounds. Let's get after it. We just ate this giant pile of shit. Let's get out of it.
I don't know if it was the Chiefs game that was the catalyst. I think ultimately they decided as a locker room the pressure was off. They were going to go out there and fucking chase wins, and it's a momentum league, man. I think the last couple of years, obviously, the pendulum swung the other way, where we've kind of eaten shit towards the middle to end part of the season, haven't been able to get out of that rut. But then a win after that, and then you build a couple of wins together, and all of a sudden you got momentum. And we spoke a lot about the unity within that locker room last year, and the fact the guys are playing for each other. Try to tell Maxx Crosby or Derek Carr the season's over.
Yeah.
It's already go fuck
Good
yourself.
luck.
You know what I mean?
L Bucky 6. Any chance Josh McDaniels lets Carr go and run the offense like Peyton Manning with the Colts? When he would run the no huddle under Musgrave, it was a thing of beauty. McDaniels lets Carr do that more often than not, or more often than we think?
No.
I
I think McDaniels is too structured offensively. Even on a 2-minute drill, he has his keys that Derek Carr knows. So even if it's Derek Carr going out there and calling the plays himself, it's a set of keys. It's a set of things he's looking for. So it's not, people like to throw this around like, oh yeah, Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator. No, he wasn't. He was given certain keys and certain things to look for. So he knew what plays to call. So in actuality, the offensive coordinator was putting this program together for you. He gave you a little bit more leeway, but it is him putting the keys there for the quarterback to call the plays.
So wait, so you're saying would he do what happened with Peyton?
Not to that extent, no.
I think if it does happen, it would only happen if we're looking at, we're 2-4, if we're 2-6, and the season's fallen apart. And, at that point, I think McDaniel cedes some of the control and says, Carr, go out there and do what you think is going to be best for this offense. And he'll give him more license to change plays. That's the one thing we didn't see in preseason, right? Was are they going to be able to effectively change plays at the line of scrimmage and communicate that amongst the entire offense? We didn't see any of that in the preseason. So it remains to be seen. But is he going to give him that control right off the bat? No way.
He's going to have to earn it for sure. If it does come, it's going to have to be because he earned it. But I will say this. What's been the biggest theme about Josh McDaniels this season, this preseason so far? It's that he's going to the players and saying, what do you want to do? How do you want to approach this? Here's my playbook. Here's a pencil. What do you want to change? Let's pick each other's brains. That's been the new Josh McDaniels, right? Like that was, I think, the big reason why he failed so bad in Denver was because he was a totalitarian. My way or the highway. I don't even have to explain to you why I'm doing it. I bark. You take the order. Now, every player who's asked about Josh McDaniels, like Devontae Adams is like, yeah, he wanted to pick my brain, like kind of fluffed his ego a little bit. I think this new Josh McDaniels, there's a chance that he gives Derek Carr the keys to the Ferrari a little bit more than normal, certainly more than Gruden did, right? Gruden was just like, this is what we're doing. But this new Josh McDaniels feels like a guy that if you've earned that trust and you've reached, a relationship there, let's try it, right? Take him out for a spin for a series, Derek. And like you said, Soto, like here's the keys. Here's our game plan. Here's what we worked on all week. But you're feeling it. You're eyeballing your receivers. Like you're watching the linebacker read your guys. Like you try it for a little bit. I don't think it's that far-fetched. Uloa. Talking about the top 100 at the NFL, NFL.com, NFL Network, the top 100. Uloa. Colton Miller should have made the top 100. I picked this only because Colton Miller's good, above average, solid left tackle. But I think because he's so much better than the rest of our linemen, we make him out to be this like future 4-time Pro Bowler. That, hey, maybe, right? I'd love for that to be the case. Like he could always get better, but I think just compared to the rest of the line, he does look like Lincoln Kennedy. He's just so much better than everybody else we have.
Yeah, man. Look, I think he's a good player, but when you're talking about top 100, you talk about like there are 5 teams in the NFL that don't have one player on the top 100 list. So, no, I don't think he should be in the top 100.
Look, my main man, Hunter Hummer Renfro, didn't make the top fucking 100. That's the person that should have made the top 100. Colton Miller, you said it, man. He's an above-average left tackle, good in pass pro, okay in run blocking, not flawless. Certainly no Trent Williams. I'm happy to have him, but I'm not going to die on that hill.
Very full show today, guys. A bunch of stuff we didn't have time to get to because we have our 53-man roster, sort of, ish. 53-man like substance. Did this show one day early, recorded a day early because
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for coming in. I'll be hopping on a plane to Paris as you people are probably listening to this to work. So I'll come back with some baguettes. I'm going to order nothing but freedom fries and freedom toast. Maybe go like cowboy hat, loud Hawaiian shirt, offering everyone ketchup. I want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look like a tourist. So I'm going to make sure that I,
wear
blend
white
in with the
socks,
culture.
wear a fanny pack.
Yep.
Some
Zinc on my nose. I don't want to burn.
Wear like a Dodger hat. People know exactly where you're from.
Yep.
As the European here, guys, like RJ, you need to go taste some real fucking food. Like Paris is the best food in the world, man. No bullshit. No bullshit. You need to get out there and try some new shit.
I will
But I love
find
you.
the closest Taco Bell by my hotel and really get a flavor of the local cuisine. Can't wait to do it.
That's sad.
All right. Well, until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Maxx Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.